huge.
Yeah.
And coming from somebody who does primarily big deals, it's not like you'll just, pick up a house and try to sell the house for $350.
Well, I do houses too.
You do houses too.
I do houses too.
But a lot of what you do, I think, is bigger deals with land and stuff, right?
Right.
So how do you even go about generating and building those relationships with people that have been either in land development or just land in general for so many years? And because you're fairly new to this specific property development, right?
I'm about 5 years.
5 years. So have you kind of thought that your past has kind of helped you build those relationships in this specific industry?
Yeah, and it's also being able to find product, meaning finding large acreage that can be developed and then tying in with, I have a developer database, I have a builder's database, I have an investor database. So being able to match.
So that literally goes back to when you were 17. You knew you had to have a buyer or seller. So you're living to that even now. You have those connections for investors. So you connect everybody. Somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, I want to buy something," and you say, "Okay, I know somebody who's selling."
Right.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So can you kind of dive into that process of like networking and building those?
Networking is identifying who's buying, right? So being able to identify who's buying, what they're buying, their portfolio, and then finding a product that will actually match.
Right.
So let's say you're an agent and you're looking for 100 lots and you bring me an offer for 100 lots. Well, if it's sold, I know of another 100 lots, I'll be able to move you from one transaction to another transaction.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, can you, because like, that's just a whack load of stuff that you do on a daily basis, is having to build those relationships first of all with the buyer and then with the seller as well, and being that middleman. Can you kind of talk about, like, growing up, you knew that you had to connect a buyer or seller, right? So you knew that, but kind of was it something that your parents taught you that you needed to do that, or no?
No, because they weren't in that industry.
Right.
They were, employees for like GM, or they worked for like the gas company and stuff like that. So I never grew up along with any knowledge of know-how. That was just thinking, like, in order for you to make a sale, you need to have a product and you need to find a buyer for a product, right?
Right.
Which is a simple aspect, and just how I came about it was just figuring out, like when I was out with Glenn, my mentor, and he was taking me out, we were seeing these properties, and I was driving in from out of town in to come see these properties. I was doing this every day. I was like, there's got to be an easier way.
Right.
So I figured the easiest way was to do the pictures while I'm at the house. That way I could just give them a CD.
Yep.
And then eventually it went onto a website and video.
Nice and simple. Yeah.
YouTube now, and now YouTube and all that, they came out, I think in 2009, 2010. So, and then it started growing.
Yeah. So I kind of want to dive into, because like that's a lot to unpack. Can you kind of talk about, because there are obviously probably some complications or challenges in, every industry, but in your industry specifically, what would be some like challenges that you faced, or some things that or like getting permits or something like, it's just something simple like that? Like, what are some of the biggest tie downs?
Yeah, well, with land development, you're relying on third party.
Right.
You're relying on city approvals, the neighbors not complaining and shutting down your proposals, environmental issues, soil conditions, what could be built there, how deep you have to go. So there's a lot of third-party involvement to bring it from A to Z, right? And there's a lot of people like planners, the developers, the landowners, the city, architects, all the groups that do all the studies, right? Their geotechnicals and their environmentals, and so you're dealing with a lot of moving
parts.
And that's just the challenge, is just time consuming. So you can spend 4 years and then find out at something that there's a frog that lived here, and you're not able to build. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that can happen, but in the scheme of it all, the value that it brings to the community is worthwhile.
Oh, tremendous. Yeah.
Because you have, all the groups that are doing the studies, the city involvement, the local businesses, the builders, all the trades, the roads, the servicing companies. It truly affects a lot of people.
Right. Positively.
Yeah. Right.
Maybe the building process could be annoying, but
yeah. But at the end of the day, then you see, a beautiful development.
Exactly. You see 400 new homes, or it's something huge.